In the previous step, we returned a hard-coded string back. We mapped getRequest to this URI to this method which was returning a simple string. In this step, we would actually create an object for hello world bean and try to return that back and see what would happen. One of the things you need to understand is the fact that there is a lot of things that are happening in the background. We used Spring Boot to create the project. Through the Spring Boot starter projects, we are using frameworks like Spring, Spring MVC, and a lot of other things. So there is a lot of magic which is happening in the background. Before we get there, we would focus on getting another simple get request working. So I would copy this method. There would be a compilation error. Let's not worry about it right now. What I want to do is to create a get mapping to hello world, and this time I would want to create a bean and return it back. So instead of creating a simple string, I would want to create a bean and return it back. The URI I would want to map is hello world bean. We would continue mapping the get mapping request. However, instead of returning a string, we want to return a bean back. How do we do that? Let's quickly do that. So we want to do hello world bean, and I'll make the change in the method name. Now you would see that the entire thing compiles. But instead of creating hello world, what I would want to do is to create a hello world bean. One more thing I want to do is to make sure that this method is returning a hello world bean. So instead of string, we want to return a hello world bean. Actually, the hello world bean is not really there. So let's go ahead and create that first. How do I create it? Control 1 or command 1 and create class hello world bean. Let's do that. Hello world bean. I'll take the defaults and click finish. And I would want to create next. If you'd see, there's a constructor which is present in here. So let's go ahead and do a control 1 and create constructor hello world. I'd want to create a hello world bean with a message. What I want to do is this dot message is equal to message. Now I would get another compilation error. Now I press control 1 and I'm going to create a message in here. So we have a private field called message. We have a hello bean, accepting that in the constructor and setting it to itself. Let's create a setter quickly. So I'll say select setters. Okay, the easiest way to do that is right click, source, and you can go and select generate getters and setters. So I generated setter, and obviously I would also want to generate a toString. So let's generate a toString as well. Right click, source, generate toString. I'll say okay. So we are creating a very simple bean, nothing complex in here. So we are just creating a simple bean, and now our hello world controller would compile fine. So what we have done until now is very simple, right? We have defined a simple hello world bean which accepts a message, and we are actually returning it back in the controller method. Let's start the application up. Let's go to URI hello world bean. You would see that there is an error. There was an unexpected error. No converter found for return value of type hello world bean. This is one of the important things that you need to understand. Actually, this is not really an easy error to debug, and that's the reason why I illustrated this first step. So this hello world bean does not have a getter. So if we don't create a getter, then the automatic conversion will not work. So let's go ahead and create the getter. So right click, source, generate getters and setters, and select the getter for that. And now you'd see that the getter is present in here. Let's quickly restart the application. And now if you launch the hello world bean, you'd see a JSON message back. You'd see that message hello world. You can see that this message is adhering to a JSON structure. We are calling this get URI, and the hello world bean is being returned with the value hello world. And if you look at the structure, it's actually reflecting this structure in here. So it's just returning message and hello world. The name of the field here is message. So that's exactly what is here. And the text which is being set to the message is being presented as its value. And this is coming back as a JSON string. In this step, we added in one more simple method. However, this is returning a bean back. Earlier we returned a simple string back. Now we are returning a bean back, and this bean is being automatically converted into JSON and returned back. The first two steps were really simple, right? We just created a couple of simple methods. In the next step, we'll understand what's happening in the background of these two steps. How is the request being handled? Who is handling the request? And also, how is the hello world bean content getting translated to a JSON? We'll look at all that in the next step.